insurance is in everything.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it truly is, right? There's not many aspects of your life that doesn't involve some form of insurance. And so this is an industry that's not going away. Yeah, it faces its challenges like everything else. And that's why we exist, to help the industry face those challenges, continue to thrive and continue to succeed. So we get to play a really fun role on the early end of this to try and help it to be as great and as bright and as sunny as we now get outside. So I'm Dan Israel. I'm the Managing Director of the Global Insurance Accelerator, and this is the future of insurance.
Dan, it's great to sit down with you in person.
Yes, finally.
And not just with you, but in person with the GIA, which I've gotten to be a part of for a few years and finally put my handprint on the wall.
Love it.
Very excited about that. Maybe I'll flash a photo of that for anyone watching this. For people who don't know you, don't know GIA, who are you and what's GIA?
So I'm Dan Israel. I'm the Managing Director of the Global Insurance Accelerator, and we are, we think, the early stage accelerator focused on insurtech. And so for us, that means we take founders as early as a great idea, up to founders that have maybe a product in market but are looking for what comes next, more customers, product market fit, and things like that. The primary thing that we do is each year we have a 100-day program that runs from January through April, where we bring companies from literally all over the world. So we try to take the global in our name very seriously. And over the last 10 years, we've had 5 continents and 13 countries represented amongst those founders. We bring them in for 100 days of truly mentorship and understanding how they can grow their businesses within insurance. So we match them up with mentors that come from, you can think of a role in insurance or a company within insurance, we have them probably represented. And our goal is to help them solve kind of the 3 to 5 big challenges that they think are in their way to grow their business foundation. And then on the back end, hopefully help them connect with our insurance carrier investors, our partners, and the broader ecosystem that we have to help them grow beyond our 100 days and become a real success.
One of the things, as somebody who's been a mentor in the program for a few years now, I've noticed it's not P&C or health or life and annuity, like it's everything. And functionally, same story. It's distribution and data and analytics and like all kinds of neuroscience.
Yes.
Like it's everything.
It is.
Which is exciting and interesting and challenging. And when you talk about like what are the 3 to 5 things we're facing, they're going to be wildly different across those spaces. How do you sort of keep that breadth and all the benefits that brings of different viewpoints and everything, but then also have some, I don't know, threads to pull across everything?
Well, we're really lucky. Our base and the reason that we do what we do is because of our insurance carrier investors. It starts with them. And they, as you said, represent everything from our P&C carriers, life and health, to annuity, specialty benefits, crop insurance. And so we really do cover the gamut. And what we ask them to do, and the reason that we're able to have that breadth, is we ask them to wear 2 hats. One is when they're evaluating companies to come to be a part of our program, we ask them to say, is this good for your company? Is this somebody that you actually want to work with? What are the problems that you're trying to solve within your own company? So that we can make sure that we're providing them with companies that are actually going to help them. And it hopefully drives more value for the founders because they've got potential customers coming out of the program. The second hat that we ask them to wear is probably the one that makes it more difficult for them, but allows us to have the threads to pull, is it good for the industry? And regardless of whether or not they may be able to work with Brian's startup, they say, this is something that insurance needs. And I see that thread to pull, and maybe it's something on advanced underwriting or the buzzword of the day, generative AI, right? I have to, right? I'll take the over on the number of applications we see with generative AI as a result. But you know, it's one of those things that because there are the common themes that cut across, you name the type of insurance, right? And because our investors and our sponsors are the ones that are selecting the companies that come to be a part of our program, they're looking at those broader industry trends. So that allows us then to have, as you say, the threads to pull on. And not surprisingly, each year, you know, the trends that are coming out, the tip of the spear things, why I said the dreaded, you know, generative AI term, right? It's because what the new things that are coming down the pike, we generally see those early on because you've got founders that are starting ideas that are coming up right now, as opposed to things that they've been working on for years and years and years. And so because of that, because frankly, we've got great investors and great sponsors and great partners that are willing to say beyond what's just good for me, that's why we can do what we do, on top of having mentors that represent every type of
Yeah.
role within the industry. You're a great example, right? You have carrier background, you have founder, or you have a startup background. You've got industry knowledge or from the things that you do from an author perspective. All of those things that our mentors bring on top of what we get from our corporate partners allows us to do what we do today.
I know your new cohort hasn't been selected or started yet,
Right.
But maybe from some of the early rumblings you're seeing and what you saw last year, we can talk about the 3 to 5 themes other than generative AI. And it's okay if that's one of them, but are there challenges or opportunities in particular that you think are really hitting right now or in the kind of 3 to 5 year horizon for carriers that they then want you to engage in?
Yeah, well, I think the one that stands out for me that has been something that we've seen a lot in the past is, many carriers, the cost constraints that they're getting hit with, whether it be weather events or whether, a lot of the pricing things. There are a number of really interesting founders that are coming up with ideas to help the carriers to be more efficient, whether that is how they get through underwriting faster, whether that's how they make decisions faster, whether that's how they get to their data faster. I think the companies that I've talked to, the carriers that they're interested in, and the companies that I've talked to that I think have that kind of spark of maybe this could be a thing, they're going to be the ones that are really focused on helping the carriers to kind of get through the hump that we're in right now for many of them. And so it's not always the sexiest ideas.
Yeah.
But when you think about what we do, right, we do what we do for the carriers and with the carriers. And so looking at it in those terms, there's always going to be great new products. There's going to be new and innovative ways to sell insurance, to bundle it, to find ways to package it together. But I think some of those companies that are really focused on how do I help the carriers do what they do in a more effective way to reduce costs for the end consumer, to be able to continue to provide insurance to them. I think you've seen, some of the companies start to leave the coast in some of those ways where we can help bring founders that are allowing people to continue to do business, to continue to provide insurance in new and different ways that will reduce costs. That to me is kind of exciting because I think it presents a real-time opportunity to help the industry in quite a meaningful way.
I appreciate that. And you said efficiency. I'm all for efficiency. And I got scared for a second because I see so many carriers focus on we just have to cut our expenses.
Yeah.
But for a lot of carriers, bring your expense ratio to 0, you're still losing money.
Right.
You're talking about it like risk efficiency. I mean, in addition to process efficiency, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But you're
it
bigger than that.
It is. It's about how do they help understand truly what the risk is. Right. And so we've seen companies that are saying, we can give you this piece of information or tie this piece of information into what you already know to better understand the real risk that you're underwriting.
Yeah.
And so whether that be a company like Envive that came through our program in the past year that's looking at biomarkers to better understand the true age of someone that comes through your program. Now, that's still got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
But it's things like that where if you can help the insurer truly understand the risk, they can price it efficiently.
Yeah.
And therefore, to your point, right, we're not necessarily saying, well, take this thing and it will remove this process. And that's truly innovative thing. There's some great ideas out there.
Sure.
Carriers need those. We're talking about how do we help them run a more risk efficient business, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and that's the core product is risk. So.
Right. Agreed.
I want to focus lastly on the startups, and you personally, including your past work, but then the GIA more holistically has seen a lot of different needs of startup founders. As you said, they come in at different stages, and some have insurance background, some don't. Some have functional background in what they're addressing, some don't. Many don't. Are there things that you would say, look, founders out there, this is where you should focus your energy or keep your mind open to X so that you're in a better position for it? Where do you think they need the most kind of mentally preparing themselves for how to get to success?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that we really focus on, there's a couple things that we start as soon as you get into the program. In fact, we ask you about in the application is, there's 3 things really. It's what's your why?
Yeah.
Right. We're big into, if you don't understand why you're building it or why you should be the ones that are building it, it's going to be really hard to sell it to somebody else that you should be the one solving that.
Yeah.
And so somebody understanding the why they do what they do is incredibly important, and we ask for that. The second part is, are you solving a real problem? Are you? I used to say before I worked for the GIA, I worked for Principal, leading the enterprise innovation function, and we went through a process to try and make sure that we knew what problems we were looking to solve. And there's lots of shiny pennies out there, and there's a problem that if you find the shiny pennies, but it's not really a true problem to solve, it doesn't go anywhere. And that's not fair to the founder.
Yeah.
It's not fair to the company, and it just wastes a lot of resources. And so, do you know that you're solving a real problem? And then the third one is, have you done customer discovery? Have you gone out and talked to people that might be the beneficiary of what you're talking about? And if you haven't done any customer discovery and you just have this idea, even if you faced it maybe yourself, if you were an underwriter and now you've got this idea of how to make this more efficient, have you gone out and confirmed or validated? You don't have to know exactly what the path to success is. You don't have to know every detail that every customer down the line will tell you, but you have to have done some customer discovery to make sure that it is, you then truly can go back and say, hey, this is a real problem to be solved. Those are the three things that we really want the founders to focus on, because if you've done those things, then we can find you mentors that can help you to bulk up those three ideas, as well as then build on that foundation. But we really think that's a key foundation, that if you have that, then we can find the right resources. We can connect you with the right partners. We can find the right carriers that may be interested. But if you haven't done that, and then you go say, "Hell, I'm building this product," how do you know that it's the right product to build? How do you know it's the right thing that will actually solve the problem? And so that's really where I would suggest that they focus their attention, and where we ask them to focus their attention.
Well, and we're recording this after spending a day with your broader community, carriers, startups, folks all around that are supportive of these efforts. And that very much echoes the message throughout the day, especially from the carrier side, around like what is it they wish they saw. And there's lots of great tech, but I'm going to end up quoting him again. Nick Gerhardt uses phrase of the POC petting zoo. Like if there isn't a real purpose to it, there isn't a why behind it, you haven't done the research, you haven't connected with why this needs to exist, we can be supportive as can be, but we're just going to end up with a ton of POCs that go nowhere. And that'll feel nice, but ultimately it's just going to burn your runway and not move the industry.
Agreed. Yeah, the challenge that we run into, and part of the reason that we've built this kind of consolidated program, right? We run one 100-day program a year. We bring 7 to 8 companies generally as a part of that. Part of the reason that we're doing that is because we know that it takes a lot of effort to spin up POCs or to find partnerships or to do these things. And so if we can be really sure that the companies coming into our program are the ones that our carriers, our partners, our broader ecosystem that we've spent today with, they're the ones that want to be supported, want to go on. It allows us to provide them the support, not only in the 100 days, but then beyond. And that's one of the things that we're really focused on now, why we've had this event today, this Accelerate event, where, as you said, we've brought our carriers, our founders, venture capital partners, our mentors, the commissioner was here, right? And so bringing all of these folks together, because we're selective about who we bring in, we find the folks that can really take advantage of the program that we do. Hopefully it allows us then to build more meaningful partnerships that people can get behind, avoid the petting zoo concept, right? And don't get us wrong, right? We're trying to produce as many proof of concepts, we're trying to produce as many customer interactions as we can, but we want them to be the right ones.
Right, for a purpose, not just to have them.
Yeah, we have to follow our own mantra, right? If we can't do enough customer discovery to know the types of companies that should be coming in, then we're going to have a shiny penny issue on our own.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I live in a place of gloom and doom in the industry quite often. It's, my day-to-day is claims and they're terrible and difficult and upsetting, and there's lots of fraud and plaintiffs bars and all kinds of negativity around that. You live in a place of challenges, but positivity and hope. So I'm going to lean very heavily on you for some closing thoughts around what is the hope, or what is the positive ray that's out there, light coming through of what could be in this industry? Because you're seeing it every day.
Yeah,
no pressure.
I will say, I close the remarks today in this way. I love what I get to do, because it is every day I get to work with founders that are excited about working in insurance. I didn't grow up in an insurance background. I came to it, a year and a half ago, truly, when I took on this role. And I think the reason that I'm so positive about where this is going is because you see the interaction of this ecosystem.
Yeah.
Right? You've brought together amazing corporate partners that want to innovate, that want to see what's the art of the possible. You've got founders that are passionate about what they're building, passionate about the solutions. You've got mentors that come into this and say, I want this stuff to succeed, either because I need it to succeed for my own self, or because I then can say, I want to be a part of watching this person to grow.
Yeah.
And so what I get to do every day and what our staff gets to do every day is to try and build this ecosystem and this connection of positivity. You talked about the handprint on the wall. Frankly, it's one of the reasons I took this job, right? The GIA becomes this family of people that are connected to this organization, but really, really want to be a part of it. There's something meaningful about walking into that office every day, and walking past my desk goes past those handprints every day.
Yeah, you're reminded of the community.
I am reminded. And today in this event reminds me of the importance of what we get to do and why we need to continue to function and continue to find ways to bring the right founders together with the right corporate partners and with the right mentors. And so you talk about it in terms of hope. I love what we get to do. There's a lot of doom and gloom, as you said, in the industry, but we get to work with people on all sides of the equation and all sides of the ecosystem that want to continue to improve. And that's not something you get to see every day. So that's why I get really excited about it.
Well, and I love that as much as we talk about the difficulties in recruitment and retention of staff, talent, you're living in a space where people are like so passionate about getting into this space. Like, they've left paying jobs, mortgaged their house a second time, like whatever it is to start their business, to be a part of this community. And that's such a nice reminder of how important the industry is and what could be.
Jim Lewis, who's our alumni director and soon to be the executive director of the Vaughn Institute of the University of Iowa, he loves to say kind of insurance is in everything. And if you think about it, it truly is, right? There's not many aspects of your life that doesn't involve some form of insurance, right? Whether you see it every day or not. And so this is an industry that's not going away. Yeah, it faces its challenges like everything else. And that's why we exist, to help the industry face those challenges, continue to thrive and continue to succeed, because it will be here in whatever form or fashion we allow it to take. And so we get to play a really fun role on the early end of this to try and help it to be as great and as bright and as sunny as we now get outside. So.
And it was gray this morning before we started doing this.
You got it.
I can't thank you enough for having me here. This is great, and we get to record this in person, and for taking some time to share about what you get to see on a daily basis and what you're helping to build. It's important.
Well, we can't do what we do without great mentors like you and folks that volunteer of their time. Come out, spend time with us in Des Moines. We're thrilled to have your handprint on the wall.
Thank you.
But it does. We really can't do what we do without the ecosystem, and we're just thrilled to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking some time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you to all of you for watching. This is one of these moments where you can stop and think about what's possible. And the fact that there are people who are, giving up, like I said, like their livelihood for the potentiality of helping to support the future of what we all work in. If that doesn't inspire you to keep going, then maybe you should change industries. You shouldn't, right? Because there are people beating down the door to try to make things better. And they need partners. They need people to collaborate with, to work with, to support them as their customers, as their partners, their capacity, their guides, their mentors, all of the above. So it's a nice reminder of why we work the way we do in this industry, but also to be a part of changing it. So hopefully that is something that excites all of you. And it's great to have Dan here as a nice reminder of all the people who are trying to contribute to moving the industry forward. So tune in next time, and thank you. And make sure you share the show with everyone in the industry that you know. The more the better, because that's how we start to change things. Thanks, everyone.